The screaming starts before anyone sees the body. A flashlight tumbles through wet leaves while someone drags heavy chains deeper into the trees. A car horn blares endlessly somewhere beyond the fog. Then it suddenly cuts off, leaving only breathing and distant metal scraping. A gold coin drops into the mud beside a half-buried skeleton. Nobody notices the pale hand slowly closing around empty air nearby. Earlier that day, applause shook the school auditorium while cameras flashed toward a smiling science champion. His partner remained unseen in the back row. The project wasn't his. The quiet woman who built everything watched him celebrate without once saying her name aloud. He promised attention whenever he needed help. Once the work was done, he vanished before she could even speak to him. Two amateur horror vloggers overheard everything. One of them decided humiliation would teach the arrogant winner a lesson. The blonde driver loved staging fake hauntings online. He suggested something bigger than a prank this time. 3 nights later, the science champion woke inside a moving car with duct tape around his wrists. Rain hammered the windows hard enough to erase the road. The quiet woman joined them willingly. She said almost nothing during the drive into the mountains. The car struck a hidden ditch near the cemetery entrance. Steam rose from the hood while the engine died permanently. The prank became simple after that. Dig up a grave, lock yourself to a corpse, and survive the night alone. Nobody noticed the cemetery had no animal sounds. Even the wind seemed to stop once they crossed the broken stone gate. The chained student disappeared into the fog carrying a shovel and flashlight. His footsteps faded too quickly. Minutes later, screaming exploded through the trees. Then came desperate sobbing and something heavy dragging across dirt. The others ran toward the sound and found only a phone glowing beside an open grave. Wet footprints circled them from every direction. The missing student suddenly emerged behind them shaking violently. He begged them to leave before sunrise. Nobody believed him. The shaved-beard vlogger shoved the shovel back into his hands and ordered him to keep digging. Beneath the final layer of soil rested a skeleton with a gold coin pressed inside its mouth. The fog thickened immediately. The quiet woman spotted someone standing between the trees. Before anyone else could turn around, she ran screaming into the forest. The blonde vlogger sprinted after her without hesitation. Within seconds, both flashlights disappeared behind the trees. Beside the grave, the shaved-beard vlogger stared at the gold coin like it was waiting for him. The chained student warned him not to touch it. The moment his fingers brushed the coin, something grabbed his ankle from beneath the grave. Wet dirt burst upward around them. The chained student tried running, but the vlogger cuffed himself to him in panic. They crashed through the fog together, dragging metal between them. Every path led them back to the same grave. Even broken branches and footprints rearranged themselves behind them. The quiet woman reappeared near a fallen shrine wall. She claimed she couldn't find the blonde vlogger anywhere. Farther uphill, lantern light flickered through the trees. An isolated temple sat hidden beyond the cemetery. An elderly monk invited them inside without asking questions. He stared too long at the mud covering the stolen coin. Separate sleeping areas divided the temple by custom. The quiet woman vanished behind hanging cloth partitions without speaking. The shaved-beard vlogger refused to rest. He insisted the missing blonde driver was still wandering somewhere outside alive. The chained student followed him back into the forest reluctantly. Rainwater streamed through the trees like black veins. During the search, the shaved-beard vlogger froze repeatedly at empty spaces. He claimed someone kept whispering directly into his ear. Hidden behind bamboo walls, they overheard the monk speaking with a pale woman drenched in rainwater. Their conversation sounded like a goodbye. The woman begged the monk to abandon the temple and leave with her. He refused without raising his voice once. The monk revealed his father had robbed sacred burial grounds for years. Joining the order was his attempt to repay that debt. The pale woman accused him of abandoning the living to save the dead. Her wet hair covered most of her face as she spoke. A branch snapped nearby. The conversation stopped instantly, and both figures turned toward the hidden listeners. Back inside the temple, the quiet woman brought food without explaining where she found it. Nobody asked after tasting the bitter broth. Halfway through dinner, the shaved-beard vlogger vomited a gold coin onto the floorboards. The metal was covered in fresh blood. The elderly monk quietly picked up the coin using cloth instead of his bare hands. His expression changed for the first time all night. The monk warned them the forest only traps people carrying unfinished debts. Nobody admitted where the coin came from. That night, chains rattled beneath the temple floorboards. The chained student stayed awake listening to footsteps circle his room slowly. Across the hall, the shaved-beard vlogger dreamed of a corpse forcing cold fingers down his throat. He woke choking on muddy water. The coin had vanished from his pocket again. Wet footprints led from his sleeping mat toward the forest entrance. A phone suddenly vibrated inside the darkness. The missing blonde vlogger was calling from somewhere nearby. Only breathing came through the speaker. Then a faint splash echoed before the line disconnected completely. The two men followed distant footsteps into the lower forest. Lanterns from the temple disappeared behind layers of fog. Near the riverbank, they found the blonde vlogger sitting motionless beside black water. He never reacted when they shouted his name. The moment they approached him, he vanished behind drifting fog. Only wet footprints remained near the shore. On the walk back, funeral chanting echoed through the trees. A burial procession moved silently beside the flooded temple path. They watched mourners place gold coins inside the mouths of the dead. Nobody in the procession looked fully alive.